40 countries. Milestone number 5, and it happened in Houston, Texas in 1973. Women were officially allowed as a bylaw change to join Toastmaster clubs. And it was a popular bylaw amendment. 95% of the delegates, all of them men, 95% of the delegates, all of the men, voted in favor of saying yes to women joining Toastmasters. And as you can see, it led 7 years ago to the first time ever a sweep of the World Championship of Public Speaking by women contestants, which was an important harbinger, if you will, an important indicator of the immense growth of women in Toastmasters. Well, milestone number 6, I'm afraid, after 88 years of being officially headquartered in California, in Southern California, in Orange County, in 2018, World Headquarters moved outside of California for the first time to a suburb just outside of Denver, Colorado. And finally, 5 years ago, Toastmasters, the Pathways Learning Experience, became the official educational program after much effort. It began really with a decision 15 years ago by the board of directors to say, let's overhaul the whole thing. And there was a lot of study and research, and there you are. We have Pathways. But there's a bonus milestone. After all, I think most of us here are members of clubs and founders or Southern California. I think it's important to note, it's not in the official Toastmasters timeline, but by golly, let's note that a bonus milestone, number 8, is the establishment of Founders District in 1944. Very, very significant. And it was a product of California dreaming. Apparently the name Founders came to the first district governor of Founders. The name, calling it Founders, was something he credits. He says it came to him in a dream. He was sleeping one night and Graham J. Albright said, yeah, he had this dream. Maybe Smedley spoke to him in the dream. Who knows? So he had a dream in the 1940s that the name of the Founders District would be called Founders rather than District 21 or whatever. So there you are, California dreaming at work. And that's how we came to have Founders District and the name. If somebody could just lower the hand, that'd be great. I can move on to the next page. Now, nothing in history is inevitable. Nothing happens in history that's inevitable, and there was nothing inevitable about the rise and the growth of Toastmasters. I want to point this out. We all know that the indispensable person was Ralph Smedley, but history and life, things happen in life because of the right people or the right person and the right circumstances. The indispensable person was undoubtedly Ralph Smedley for a variety of reasons. We only have time to point this factor out, but there was also the factor of location. Let me ask you a question. We all love Ralph Smedley, and Ralph Smedley spent most of his early life, in fact, the first 41 years of his life, in Illinois. But what if Ralph Smedley had never left downstate Illinois? We know he left Illinois for California at the age of 41 in 1919 to run a YMCA in San Jose. It wasn't until he was, at that time, 44 was considered middle age. It wasn't until he was 44 when he arrived in Southern California and the Santa Ana YMCA in 1922, which he was asked to run and organize. What if Ralph had never left Illinois? I'm going to make I'm going to offer an opinion, and that is if Ralph Smedley had never left downstate Illinois, Toastmasters International might not have ever come into existence. Because you see, if Ralph Smedley was the indispensable person, Southern California was the indispensable place. And I think for this audience, most of you are Southern Californians, I think it needs to be said. If, for example, Smedley had never left downstate Illinois, I dare say that his dream, his brainchild, might have gone with him to his grave and never become the global movement that we have today. Southern California in the 20s and 30s and 40s was the perfect place to start a movement that was dedicated to human development and human growth. California itself grew 15-fold from 1900 to 1970. And in fact, in 1962, California overtook my adopted home state of New York as the largest state in the United States. Southern California is the place where In the struggle between man versus nature, nature lost, because it's in Southern California where a desert bloomed due to human ingenuity and effort. And we think, of course, of William Mulholland. Any of you ever saw the movie Chinatown? We think of William Mulholland and the efforts to bring water to the dry lands of Southern California. Southern California is where dreams are brought to life then, now, and in the future. And we see, of course, Hollywood land. That's before they dropped land. And of course, we see Walt and Mickey taking a ride at Disneyland in 1955. What if Ralph never left downstate Illinois? Yes, it would not have happened. I'm convinced that Toastmasters, it was in the fertile soil, the fertile, watered, irrigated soil of Southern California, the fastest growing part of the modern world in the early part of the last century, where Toastmasters was the right place for Toastmasters to grow and blossom and bloom. In fact, and this one reason is that Southern California, the growth rate wasn't from natural population, birth population. It was from so many people coming to Southern California from all the other places around the world and the US. Most early leaders in California were from somewhere else, beginning with Ralph. He was 41 when he arrived in California, 44 when he arrived in Orange County. Our second international president was born in Japan, arrived in California when he was 31. Our third international president was from Iowa, arrived in California when he was 30. Our fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth international presidents were all born and educated outside California and came to the state in their 30s. In their 30s. You know, California was, for all these men, and they were men at first, was a place of second chances, a place where people could, no matter what their past was like, if they came to California, this was a place for second chances. And truly, this was a place where people were used to change, used to being on the go, used to new ideas and opening up. And so at this 101st anniversary celebration, I ask you, me, it's a coffee cup. Some of you may have beverage, maybe alcoholic beverages in your glasses. I encourage you to raise your glasses in honor to the indispensable person, Ralph Smedley, but also, as Californians, most of you are, raise a glass to that indispensable place for Toastmasters growth, Southern California. It was the right person with the right place coming together, a product of destiny and maybe of chance that made possible today Toastmasters International, because without Southern California and without Ralph Smedley, we wouldn't be celebrating 101 years. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Wow, another round of applause. That was powerful. Absolutely correct. You only had 6 or 7 minutes. You sure squeezed in a lot of information, Mark. Very well done. Next up on our program, a message from our district director, distinguished Toastmaster Jonas Brev. Come on up, Jonas.
I've got to stay over here. Should have asked for a microphone because I like walking around. Good evening, Founders District. It's wonderful seeing you online and in person. When I had the thought of running for the district director position, I had one big concern, and that is perhaps, in my view, the biggest and the most pressing leadership issue we have. Do you want to take a guess what could be the most pressing issue of leadership today? Next generation? Anybody else? Having enough leaders? I heard something else?
I said successors.
Successors? Anybody else? What came to my mind as being the most pressing issue leadership in Toastmasters, and not only, is the aspect of a vision. Because every time you speak about leadership, vision must be nearby. And I bet that the most problems we have in our clubs, if we have any, The roots are in the vision or the lack of a clear vision. So then I said, as district director, we are supposed to have a vision for the program year that we're serving in. And I gave it some thought, and after a couple of weeks of thinking, I came out with this simple vision, which is Toastmasters 101. And I explain it to you because it's a threefold. First, I have the honor of serving as district director in the 101st year of Toastmasters, and we get to celebrate. Can I hear you celebrate a little bit? Yes. Now, in my mind, this is exactly what should happen in every single club we have in Founders District, celebration. If we want to have clubs that are thriving, celebration must be at the center. We don't have enough places in the society where people can get genuinely celebrated. Therefore, my encouragement for you is please celebrate every small achievement that your members are making. The second, thank you. I love club over here. The second fold of the vision Toastmasters 101 in my mind is that it is time for Founders District to go 101, mastering the basics. We need to go back to those basics, having those beautiful agendas, preparing thoroughly for every role, for every speech, reading the pathways, looking at the videos, doing everything in our power to show up in front of our colleagues fully prepared and ready to deliver value for all other people that are depending on us to add value. So mastering the basics, Toastmasters 101. And the last part of the vision, Toastmasters 1-on-1. Can I make a confession and ask you a question? Who came here tonight because somebody personally invited them to come or insisted? Thank you very much. Almost everybody. So not a lot of people came because of our mass emails, but because somebody called you, sent you a text and said, hey, Cindy, hey, April, hey, Steve, I want you to come with me. It's time we focus again on that mentorship aspect and we pour our Toastmasters experience into the new members. And then there's the bonus part, and I'm done. The bonus part of the Toastmasters 101 vision is that my belief is that if we give 100% of what we're capable of, and then we are ready to go the extra mile, making it 101%, that's how we surely should thrive individually, as clubs, and as district. So this year, if you resonate with the Vision Toastmasters 101, try to implement it in your club, in your personal Toastmasters journey. It will work miracles. I've seen it so many times. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Very well said, and I think that's a great vision for the next 101 years of Toastmasters, to be sure. Now we are ready. What is a Toastmaster event at the district level without a keynote address? We have such a person here tonight to deliver a keynote address by the name of George Jurasik. George has been in Toastmasters for 20 years. He has completed 3 distinguished Toastmasters. He was District 39 Director, received the President's Citation from past International President Richard Peck, and recently appointed Region 2 Advisor for a 2nd year. With his speech called The Human Connection, please welcome Distinguished Toastmaster, past Region Advisor, past District Director, George Jurasik.
This is great. Thank you for inviting me to celebrate 101 years with you. Wow, this is incredible. My role, for those that don't know, as a region advisor, is I come down to help the trios in the districts become President's Distinguished. And every year I come down and I'm supposed to inspire you. I'm supposed to get the energy, the spark going on. But every year I come down to Founders and you give me the spark. You give me the energy. You're driving me nuts. Stop it. Stop it. So I have a speech here. I was going to give a speech, but I attended a club last night. What was it? The Chapter One Club? Is there the people from Chapter One here? Give a shout out. And it was just amazing. Mark LaBerge, it's just amazing club. I had a great time. I got to stand in front of the YMCA with my picture taken, of course. I was surprised, that not more people were there, but they had a photo, Kodak photo. We don't do Kodak anymore. Anyway, but I attended the church meeting. That was great. That was so inspirational. Then I attended Saddleback Sunrise Club. It's a Saddleback Club here. That has to be the best club I have ever attended. This is the best club. Okay, I hear some gruntles here. Oh, there's more better clubs. Well, after the end of the club